Hello, happy Wednesday. It is good to be back. We had such a fun time in Dallas. I felt like it went so fast. We landed there on Tuesday, and it was like a whole situation with like our rental car. I have never been to Dallas before. I've been to Dallas before. I've never flown into Dallas, so I've never been to the airport. But it is like insane trying to get a rental car. And we weren't originally going to do that, but um, it was like to Uber from the airport to the Airbnb. It was like $70. And so we're thinking, okay, if we have to do that twice, that's $140. And it was like $10 more to just get a rental car. So we decided to, but it's like the place we rented from, you take like a shuttle from the main airport to the rental car place. And we have like two checked bags. We have our three kids in tow. And so we like book it over to the rental car place, hop the shuttle, get there. And then like it wasn't actually in that place. So we had to like get another bus to the actual like off-site, and like it doesn't tell you that where we rented our car from was like off-site, or we would have just rented from a different company, but oh my word. Anyway, so that was an experience, but I had meetings pretty much all day on Wednesday. I had a couple hours in the middle of the day that I went to the park with the family, and that was super fun. And then we had dinner with the whole team on Wednesday night. And then Thursday, I had a session in the morning, first thing. And then I had a couple hours, and we went to the JFK like Sixth Floor Museum. So it was super fun. But I felt like we definitely could have been there a whole week and had enough to do. So we already are talking about going back sometime in the future, just to do more because we had such a good time. So anyway, it's good to be back, but it was a busy week. I feel like my body is like still recovering. I just have been so tired since we got home, and I have no idea why. But I think the time change is partly what messed it up, but the kids are going to bed a lot later because it was like an hour earlier then. Which has a lot to do with it. So anyway, I'm back. I have chapter 13 today, and then I think we only have like 2 weeks left, so I'm going to try and combine the next couple of chapters, and then we'll be done with this book, and I'm really excited because this one's so good. But if you haven't been to the book study before, welcome. We are reading The Circle Maker. This is my second time going through it, and so I'm on chapter 13, and I just kind of like share some notes and share some things that God kind of brought to mind as I was reading through the chapter, and try and make it just really simple, and then that way you can take something from it, and it's a reminder to me too to, not just read just to read, but to actually be able to apply something and learn something from what I'm reading. So starting off in chapter 13, they're talking about Conrad Hilton, and so if you know the name Hilton, like to me, I always just think like Paris Hilton. But I'm sure this is generations before her. I think it's probably somehow in her family, her grandfather or something. But he started the hotel business. And so when he started, it was shortly before the Great Depression hit. And so during the time of the Great Depression, he kind of just like was going downhill. Like nobody was traveling, nobody was staying in hotels. Like his business was just declining. And so he knew that this is what God wanted him to do. And he said that as a kid growing up, whenever he had a problem, his mother would instill in him to go and pray. And she'd say, take all your problems to him. God has answers when we don't. And so that always came to his mind when he was struggling through this season of not knowing what's going on, is, that his mom instilled in him to just go and pray, go and pray. So every day as he was, taking his walks and, waking up in the morning, he was just praying about, what God wanted him to do. And so on page 48, he says, it says in an autobiography written by Hilton, it says, in the circle of successful living, prayer is the hub that holds the wheel together. When you dream big, pray hard, and think long, your time will eventually come. So even in all the success that he had, either, prior to the Great Depression and even years after the Great Depression, he built this huge portfolio of hotels. He hinged it all on his prayer. His success is due to his praying, and that the time he spent in prayer is what allowed him to have these big dreams and wild things come true, because he spent that time building the foundation, and he never took it for granted. He didn't look at it and say, wow, look how amazing I am, or look at all these hotels I'm accumulating, or look at, I survived this Great Depression where nobody was traveling. No, it was, he upholds it to his prayer life and that foundation that his mom instilled in him. And then page 149, prayer invites God into the equation in your life. If you stop, drop, and pray, you never know where you'll go, what you'll do, or who you'll meet. And I think that's like so, relatable for me, because, there was points in my life where we didn't know, like Nathan and I didn't know like what God wanted us to do, but we just, started praying about it, and we just said, okay, well, maybe this is what God wants us to do. We don't 100% know, so let's just pray about it. Let's just keep it at the forefront of our mind. And we had so many conversations, even just around moving to Florida, years before we ever knew we were going to move to Florida, and yet here we are. And it's all contributing to the answered prayers, the time that we spent just connecting with each other and figuring out, okay, what are our goals, what are our dreams in life, where do we see ourselves in the future, and raising our family and having like our family stable and growing. And it all comes down to we just prayed, and God answers and opens doors. We didn't know how God was going to use us down here, what he was going to bring into our lives, and now we're in a totally different place than we were. So page 153, our minds are subconsciously primed by everything that is happening all the time. So we better be good stewards of the things we allow our brain to see and hear. And I think we hear a lot about this in people who talk about mindset. Like, if you're constantly talking negative to yourself, your mind focuses on the negative things. But if you're talking about positive things, and I talked about this in my first book study that I ever did, like a year ago, Terry Savelle Foy talks about it, and she said if you're looking for things to be grateful for, and you're writing down all the things that you see that you're grateful for, and all the blessings you have in your life, you're going to see all of those things more. You're going to see more blessings in your life, because that's what you're focused on. But when you're focusing on negative things, when you're speaking negatively to yourself, then your brain goes there. You see all the negative things happening in the world. So what you focus on really does matter. On page 154, prayer puts us in a spiritual frame of mind. Prayer helps us to see and seize the God-ordained opportunities that are all around us all the time. He continues on page 155, we need to establish a daily rhythm in order to have a daily relationship with God. The best way to do that is to begin the day in prayer. And I can relate this to just like having tasks in general. Like if you wake up and you don't know what you're going to do, you don't know what you have to get done today, then you kind of just like go through the day and don't really accomplish much. But when you have something that like it's written down, you know exactly what needs to get done today, then you're able to like focus on that. You're able to get the things done that you need to, because it's written in front of you and you have it on a list that you can check off. So if you start your day in prayer, you're establishing that rhythm, like, okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to do this. And then it's already getting done. You already know exactly what you have to do, and you don't forget about it. You don't get to bedtime and say, oh man, I didn't spend my time with God today. It's like, nope, I've already got it done. And it's not that you can't spend more time with him, but you just know that you're starting your day on the right foot. Page 157, you need to identify the times, places, and practices that help you dream big, pray hard, and think long. Where do you dream big? When do you pray hard? What helps you to think long? For me, like, I don't know why this habit formed, but I can think back, like, I didn't become a Christian until I was in 8th grade. I was in a public school up to that point. My family hadn't really been in church. I grew up kind of Catholic. Like, we'd go for holidays. I went through like communion and all that, like all the classes through the Catholic church. And so I remember, like, through high school, my routine was to pray at night when I was in the shower. It was like the one place there was no noise, right? You just have the water going down, and it was like I could get so much clarity when I'm just praying in the shower. And still, that's like when I get in the shower at night, it's like, okay, I can like think through, like, you know, I can thank God for the things that I got done today. I can pray through some of the things that are on my mind and on my heart that are like really burdening me, and just get clarity. It's like where I get all of my best ideas for pretty much anything is when I'm just like praying in the shower. And so find that place for you. Some people, like, you know, when they're in the shower, they're focused, they're in and out in a couple minutes. And like, I don't take super long showers, but it's like, okay, for 10 minutes, I have complete clarity, and I can really come to God and really pour my heart out to him, and I can listen because there's no noise going on around me. So find that place for you. And then page 158, drawing prayer circles is nothing more than laying our requests before God and waiting expectantly. And this is where I got the title from, Wait Expectantly, because if we are just praying thinking, well, God's probably not going to answer, then we're not going to be expecting an answer. We're going to just be expecting to not be heard. We're going to be expecting to be in the same place, not have answers. And so when we wait expectantly, it means we're actually waiting for the answer. We know God's going to answer. We don't know how he's going to answer or when he's going to answer, but we are waiting for an answer. And so we don't let off the gas. We don't stop praying. We don't stop bringing it to the forefront of our mind, because it's right there. Like, we are waiting for that answer and we know it's going to come. So it's like asking somebody a question and then like walking away. You wouldn't do that. That's rude. Even in the north where I'm from, in Michigan, like, that's rude. I know southerners are a little different, but in the north, that's rude. When you ask somebody a question, you wait for the answer. You don't just walk away. The same goes when we're praying to God. You pray, you ask God for things, and you wait for the answer. You don't walk away and turn your back on him. You wait patiently for his answer. Page 159, what would happen if you focused your prayers on one thing for one person for 1 month or a year? And he gives this story about this group of girls who got together. Some of them were friends, some of them weren't friends, some of them had conflicts with each other in the past, but they created this prayer group. And what they did is they basically assigned each other a person, or they drew from a hat, whatever it was, and that person would write a prayer request. And the person who got their name would just pray for them diligently for whatever amount of time, whether it was a week or a month or whatever. And that was like their whole goal. Is like, you just keep praying for this one person, for this one issue. And they just kept doing it. And so eventually what happened is one of the girls, I don't know if it was like written on a prayer card or what happened, but she ended up meeting a guy and getting married. And it all started with this like prayer circle. And it was like, you know, I don't know the specifics of what was written, but the author like contributes it to this prayer circle was formed, and what they focused on and prayed for diligently over time came to light. And so, you know, that idea, it can be something for yourself. You know, if you have a big goal or a big dream or something that's really burdening your heart, like, what if you just every morning, even if it's on an index card or a sticky note on your bathroom mirror, like, you wake up and you look at it and you just pray about it, and you just say, Lord, you know this is heavy on my heart. You know this is a passion of mine. You know this is a desire of mine. Show me what you want me to do, or allow this to come to light, or whatever it is. It's at the forefront of your mind. You're praying for that one issue for a week or a month or whatever you set, or maybe it's a family member is looking for a job or is going through a hard time or whatever, but you're praying for that one issue, for that one person for a period of time, and seeing what God does with it. And then this is the last part that I have, page 160. What if we stopped reading the news and started praying for it? What if lunch meetings turned into prayer meetings? What if we converted every problem, every opportunity into a prayer? Maybe we'd come a lot closer to the goal of praying without ceasing. And Nathan and I talked a little bit about this. One of my friends that I met online posts a lot about the things happening in the world and in the US and with the president, all this stuff. And it's like so much, she constantly talks about how much anxiety she has over it. And, you know, she had asked me, like, I don't know if you watch the news, but, you know, what's going on is just horrifying. And I told her, honestly, I said, you know, I don't pay attention to the news. You know, it's not that I don't care about what's happening in the world. It's not that I don't care about politics, but I can't focus myself on that, because I spiraled years ago when I was in the news every single day, and it caused me so much anxiety and so much worry. And I said, I learned that that's not for me, that I can't do that. And so, you know, just instead of focusing your mind on those things, focus your mind on praying about it. Like, you know, bad things are happening in the world. We are imperfect people in an imperfect world. And so take that to God and say, you know, I don't know all of the issues that are going on in the world, but I pray for, you know, the leaders of the countries that are, you know, have conflict. I pray for the people in this world who are, you know, don't have their mind on you and their heart set to you, and really like taking that time and converting all of the problems that we have into just praying for them. So that's all I have for chapter 13. Next week is 14 and 15, I think, and then we're so close to being done. But thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was encouraging to you. This chapter was encouraging to me, and I think that, I don't ever share things that I'm perfect on. I always share things that God's speaking to my heart and things that I am practicing too. And none of us are perfect. And so it's just putting in the work and doing the little things that we can. And hopefully in the end, we're all better people for it. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you guys next week.